Why do we fear the silence of an empty room? Most people spend their entire lives running away from themselves. They fill the void with constant noise, glowing screens, and shallow company. But what if your greatest power is hidden exactly where you are most afraid to look? We are terrified of what we might find when there is no one left to distract us. The silence is not empty. It is a mirror. Modern society views solitude as a failure or a symptom of loneliness. We are conditioned to believe that being alone means being unloved or unwanted. However, there is a massive difference between the pain of loneliness and the strength of solitude. One drains your soul through isolation, while the other builds an unbreakable foundation for your character. You must learn to distinguish between being by yourself and being lonely. One is a prison. The other is a throne. Look around you at a world that never stops talking. Everyone is desperate for validation and petrified of their own thoughts. They are prisoners of the crowd, following the herd to avoid the discomfort of their own reflection. The average person will do anything to avoid 5 minutes of quiet contemplation. You are about to discover why the strongest individuals are those who have mastered the art of being alone. True power does not need an audience to exist. In this video, we will explore the psychological depth of voluntary isolation. We will uncover how the quietest moments generate the loudest breakthroughs in self-mastery. This is not a guide on how to be lonely. This is a blueprint for transforming your solitude into a weapon of absolute clarity and resilience. The world wants you distracted because a distracted person is easy to control. A person who enjoys their own company is a threat to the status quo. The hidden issue is a chronic dependency on external stimulation. We have become addicts of the social mirror, constantly checking for our reflection in the eyes of others. This dependency creates a fragile ego that shatters when the applause stops. If you cannot stand your own company, you are essentially a stranger to yourself. You are living in a body that you do not truly inhabit. Your internal world is a house you are afraid to enter. The economic reality of our era thrives on this fundamental fear. Social media platforms and entertainment giants profit from your inability to be alone with your thoughts. They sell you a temporary cure for a boredom that is actually an invitation to think deeply. By keeping you distracted, they prevent you from realizing that you are the architect of your own internal chaos. You are giving away your sovereignty for the price of a notification. When we avoid solitude, we lose the ability to differentiate our own voice from the noise of the world. Our goals, desires, and even our fears become borrowed from the collective. We live lives that are not ours, chasing shadows in a crowded room, while our true potential withers away in the corner. You are wearing a mask that has fused to your face. You no longer know where the performance ends and the truth begins. This lack of self-communion leads to a profound psychological exhaustion. You are constantly performing a version of yourself for an audience that does not truly care about your growth. Without the sanctuary of being alone, you have no place to recharge or recalibrate your internal compass. You are a ship lost at sea, with no anchor and no way to navigate the storm. You are drifting in a sea of opinions without a destination. The first major realization is that solitude is the forge of character. History shows us that the greatest minds sought isolation to refine their visions away from the world. From Marcus Aurelius to Nikola Tesla, they understood that the mind needs space to breathe. They escaped the suffocating pressure of public opinion to find clarity. Real growth happens in the dark, away from the spotlight. You must be willing to be alone to become yourself. Statistics on high achievers often point to a high tolerance for solitary work. Deep work requires a level of focus that is impossible to maintain in a collaborative, noisy environment. You move from being a consumer to becoming a creator of your own reality. Solitude is the laboratory where the soul is tested and refined through quiet discipline. Think of the last time you had a truly original thought. It likely did not happen in a meeting or a loud party. It happened when the world went quiet and you were left with your own mind. Solitude allows your subconscious to process information and connect dots that the conscious mind ignores. It is the birthplace of innovation and the graveyard of mediocrity. Quietness provides the frequency necessary for profound insight and genius. By choosing to be alone, you reclaim your most valuable asset, your attention. Instead of giving it away to the highest bidder, you invest it back into your own development. This shift from external validation to internal satisfaction is the first step toward true psychological independence. You no longer need the world to tell you who you are or what you are worth. You become the ultimate authority over your own life and purpose. Contrary to popular belief, solitude actually improves your relationships with others. When you stop using people as a distraction from yourself, you can finally see them for who they are. You no longer approach connections with a sense of desperate neediness. Instead, you bring a complete and stable version of yourself to every interaction. You love from a place of abundance rather than a place of lack. You are no longer a parasite of attention. This strategy involves the radical act of voluntary boredom. By intentionally removing distractions, you force your mind to confront its own restlessness and anxiety. This is where the magic happens. Your brain begins to reorganize its priorities, discarding the trivial and focusing on the essential. You learn to tolerate the silence until it becomes a source of deep peace rather than fear. You find strength in the absence of noise and the presence of self. Most people think that being social makes you more empathetic. However, solitude is where you develop the emotional intelligence to understand your own feelings. If you cannot empathize with your own inner struggles, your empathy for others will always remain superficial and performative. Self-knowledge is the prerequisite for any deep connection with the outside world. You must be a friend to yourself before you can be a true friend to anyone else. Strength is not found in numbers. It is found in the ability to stand alone when the crowd is heading in the wrong direction. By mastering solitude, you develop an internal moral compass that remains steady regardless of external storms. You become unshakable because your worth is not tied to the fluctuations of social approval. You are grounded in your own truth. This is the ultimate form of human resilience and freedom. The consequence of ignoring this reality is a life lived on autopilot. If you never learn to be alone, you will forever be a slave to the expectations of others. You will wake up decades from now, wondering why you feel like a ghost in your own existence. The fear of loneliness is the chain that keeps you in a prison of your own making. Breaking that chain requires the courage to face the silence head-on without flinching. At its climax, the inability to find strength in solitude leads to a complete loss of identity. You become a collage of other people's opinions and temporary societal trends. When the noise eventually fades, as it always does, you will find yourself in a terrifying void. You will have nothing to hold on to because you never built an inner world. A man who cannot be alone is a man who is never truly free. He is a leaf in the wind. This is the existential crisis of the modern age. We are more connected than ever, yet we have never been more disconnected from our true selves. This disconnect manifests as anxiety, depression, and a persistent sense of meaninglessness. We are starving for depth in a world that only offers a shallow surface of constant connection. The only way back to meaning is through the gate of solitude. You must enter the forest alone to find the path. The choice is yours. You can continue to run from the silence, or you can step into it and discover the power waiting for you. Solitude is not an enemy to be defeated. It is a mentor to be embraced. Your greatest strength is found in the one place you have been taught to avoid. It is found right here, by yourself. Do not be afraid of the quiet. It is where you finally become whole. Deep within the human psyche lies a primal fear of being cast out. Our ancestors relied on the tribe for every aspect of survival. To be alone meant certain death in the ancient wilderness. This evolutionary programming still dictates your modern behavior and social anxieties. We chase approval to soothe a biological fear of exile. Yet this prevents us from ever knowing our true potential. True strength begins where the safety of the group ends. Most people wear a mask to fit into the social hierarchy. They mirror the opinions and habits of those around them to feel secure. This behavior is a psychological defense mechanism against the pain of isolation. When you are alone, the mask has no purpose, and it falls away. Many find this terrifying because they do not recognize the person underneath. They have spent their entire lives performing for an audience. Solitude reveals the performer behind the play. Humans avoid silence because it acts as a mirror for the soul. In the noise of the crowd, we can ignore our deepest regrets and fears. But in the quiet, these thoughts rise to the surface of the mind. This is why society is addicted to constant digital distraction. People are not afraid of being alone. They are afraid of the thoughts they have when no one is watching. Confronting these thoughts is the only way to heal and grow. There is a hidden psychological power in being the observer rather than the participant. When you withdraw from the social game, you see the patterns others miss. You notice the subtle manipulations and the hollow rituals of the crowd. This perspective gives you a massive advantage in understanding human nature. You are no longer a pawn in the social chess match. You are the grandmaster, watching the board from a distance. Knowledge is found in the stillness of the witness. Society often labels the lone wolf as a tragic or broken figure. Experts suggest that social interaction is the only metric for a healthy life. This is the great elephant in the room that no one addresses. High-level cognitive breakthroughs rarely happen in a committee or a team meeting. Genius is an individual endeavor that requires the rejection of common consensus. The most revolutionary ideas in history were born in the vacuum of isolation. Originality dies when you are surrounded by the opinions of others. We are taught that we need others to complete our identity and purpose. This narrative creates a society of dependent individuals who cannot function in silence. The rare insight is that you are already whole and complete by yourself. External validation is a drug that provides a temporary high followed by a crash. By embracing solitude, you break the cycle of emotional dependency. You realize that the crowd has nothing to offer that you cannot find within. Sovereignty is found in self-sufficiency. Most people are terrified of the outsider because they represent a threat to the status quo. The person who is comfortable being alone cannot be easily controlled or manipulated. You cannot bribe someone who finds joy in their own company. You cannot threaten someone who is not afraid of being cast out. This is the hidden strength that society ignores because it is dangerous to the system. Independence of mind is the ultimate form of rebellion. Your silence is your greatest defense. The world believes that isolation leads to madness and the loss of reality. In truth, the crowd is often the source of collective delusions and hysteria. Step away from the noise to see the world as it actually exists. When you are alone, your perception becomes sharper and more objective. You stop seeing what you are told to see and start seeing the truth. Reality is much clearer when the dust of social influence finally settles. Trust your eyes over the group's narrative. To harness this power, you must practice the art of voluntary discomfort. Start by dedicating 30 minutes each day to absolute silence and stillness. No phone and no music and no distractions of any kind. Sit with your own mind and observe the internal dialogue without judgment. This builds the mental muscle required to handle the weight of solitude. You will begin to notice the difference between loneliness and aloneness. One is a void, while the other is a vast internal playground. Apply the Stoic principle of the circle of control to your daily life. Most of your stress comes from worrying about the opinions and actions of others. Focus your energy exclusively on your own thoughts and your own character. When you are alone, your circle of control is at its maximum potential. There are no external variables to disrupt your focus or your peace. Use this time to build a fortress within your own mind. Your internal world should be your most secure sanctuary. Strategically withdraw from social obligations that do not align with your core values. Learn the power of the word no without offering an elaborate excuse. Protect your time as if it were your most valuable financial asset. Invest the hours you reclaim into deep work or self-improvement projects. The world will try to pull you back into the sea of mediocrity. Resist the urge to stay busy just for the sake of appearances. Purpose thrives in the space you create for yourself. Use a journal to engage in a rigorous dialogue with your inner self. Write down your fears and your goals and your observations about the world. Treat your journal as a mentor that challenges your assumptions and biases. This practice turns solitude into a productive laboratory for the soul. You become both the teacher and the student in your own development. Document your progress and watch as your self-reliance grows every single day. Actionable wisdom is the fruit of deep reflection. As you master solitude, you will notice a profound shift in your reality. You no longer enter a room looking for someone to talk to. You enter a room looking for the most interesting way to observe. The desperate need for external validation will be replaced by internal certainty. Your confidence will become quiet and unshakable because it is self-generated. You will find that you are never truly bored when you are alone. The world becomes a fascinating puzzle for you to solve. Your relationships will transform from a place of need to a place of want. You will no longer tolerate toxic people just to avoid being by yourself. You will choose your companions with the precision of a master craftsman. Because you do not fear isolation, you gain the power to set high standards. People will feel your internal strength and respect your boundaries instinctively. You become a person of depth and substance rather than a social chameleon. Quality replaces quantity in every area of your life. The noise of the world will lose its power to disturb your inner peace. Crises that panic others will seem like minor ripples on a deep lake. You have already faced your darkest thoughts and survived the silence. There is nothing the external world can throw at you that you cannot handle. You possess a mental resilience that is forged in the fire of isolation. Your mind becomes a sanctuary that you can retreat to at any time. You are the master of your own emotional state. This transformation leads to a state of total and absolute self-reliance. You discover that you are your own best friend and your own wisest advisor. The anxiety of the future and the regret of the past begin to fade. You exist fully in the present moment with a clear and focused mind. This is the hidden strength that allows you to achieve the impossible. You have become the architect of your own destiny. The path is yours and yours alone to walk. Solitude is not a prison sentence for those the world has rejected. It is the sacred training ground for the exceptional soul. By choosing to walk alone, you have found the path to true freedom. The strength you have built in the dark will sustain you in the light. Remember that the most important relationship you will ever have is with yourself. Do not fear the silence, and instead, let it reveal the truth to you. You are never truly alone when you are with your own mind. We hope this journey has helped you see the value in your own company. If you found strength in these words, please consider subscribing to our channel. Join our community of those who seek mastery over their own lives. Leave a comment below sharing how solitude has changed your perspective. Your story may be the spark that helps someone else find their way. Click the notification bell so you never miss a guide to self-mastery. We are on this path together, even if we walk it alone. Thank you for lending us your time and your attention today. Go forth now and embrace the power of your own beautiful silence. Seek the stillness, and you will find the strength you have always possessed. Until we meet again on the next part of this philosophical journey, stay focused and stay resilient and stay true to your own internal light. The world belongs to those who are comfortable in their own skin. Farewell for now, and take care of your mind.